Best volume striker is Max Holloway, but the best technical striker I've ever seen is Israel, hands down.
Let's go!
We're back here with another UFC breakdown. I'm with one half of No Brainer MMA, my boy Dan. Thank you for joining, bro.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So before we even get into these breakdowns, Bird Lou won. You and Connor did a breakdown. I just want to say that shit was fucking amazing.
Yeah, no, I really wanted to go into keys for victory for both of them. So I kind of went in, gave both guys some strategy. Lou, for instance, being the shorter guy, getting inside, and Bird on the outside, trying to keep striking distance, just that sort of thing. But yeah, I had a great time doing it.
Yeah, that shit was fucking great. So for everyone else that hasn't seen it yet, I'm going to have it on a pre-fight show. They already have it up on their YouTube channel. So if you want to get ahead of everyone else and watch it, you can go right there. But the reason why we're here today is because like last time when McGregor and Poirier fought, I had Connor on. This time I got Dan on. We're going to break down a couple fights. I'm going to keep this quick, but we're going to do a little change it up a little bit from just a normal conversation. We're going to go agreement, disagreement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give out the picks that I already have for UFC, and I'm going to run these by Dan. Now what Dan's going to do is he's going to tell me whether or not he agrees or disagrees, and then he's going to explain why. So You ready to get into this?
Ready.
All right, here we go. So let me start with the main event because that's probably the main fight everyone's here for anyways.
Yeah.
And
we're all tuning in for that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably going to be the most gambled on fight of the night anyway. So let's start there. So here's my pick. My pick is over 2.5 rounds between Adesanya and Blachowicz. And here's why. I think with Izzy going up in the weight class, he's going to be fighting somebody that's going to be able to withstand his strikes a little bit more. He's going to be able to eat those punches for a little bit longer. On top of that, Izzy's going to be a little more calculated with his movements, maybe be a little less aggressive early on, throw a little more feints, check the jab a little more, just be a little more calculated, feel out the fight. So I think we may just get one round under our belts just for a feel-out round and then have two here and there. Last point, I could see Blachowicz going for, a grappling style game plan, which will obviously slow down the fight. So yeah, my first pick, over 2.5 rounds, agreement or disagreement?
I'd agree with that. Izzy, for the most part, always does a feeling out process in his first round. He likes to throw those leg kicks. He'll throw out maybe a head kick or two in the round, but it's mostly he gauges the other guy, and he sets traps for the rest of the fight. Later on, he sets up those feints, and he likes to get a gauge on where the other guy's arsenal is, and is trying to draw out their entire, try to draw out all the strikes, all the moves that they're trying to do. And with the grappling heavy approach, you said Jan Blachowicz definitely has a good wrestling game that people don't really talk about. He used to use it before he went on this crazy knockout streak. But with that being said, Izzy's got some phenomenal takedown defense. But then again, you can also say he is going up in weight, so it's going to be harder for him to stuff takedowns.
Yeah.
But I still think he will be able to keep it on the feet, and I think he goes up three rounds to nothing, picks him apart from the outside. Blachowicz doesn't really touch him. And then 4th round, 5th round, you might see Blachowicz getting aggressive, and that's when you could see a finish coming on either way. But more likely in Adesanya's ballpark at that point because he is probably the best counter striker I've ever seen.
Izzy, in my viewing experience, is the most accurate striker I've seen in the UFC. He doesn't throw a million strikes, but when he does, he connects.
He's the best technical striker I have ever seen. Best volume striker is Max Holloway, but the best technical striker I've ever seen is Israel, hands down.
So I think the one, and we agree on this, is there's a lot of kind of unknowns in this fight just because of the fact that Israel's going up in weight. and therefore we'd expect there to be some sort of feeling out process, hence making the over 2.5 rounds a pretty smart bet. So we have agreement there.
Yes, sir.
Let's go in to my next bet, which, okay, this is not the co-main event. Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan. Is that not is it the co-main event or no?
The first of 3 title fights, so it's not the co-main.
Okay. Amanda Nunez is the co-main. Okay, so I'm looking at Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan. Now, I lean towards Aljamain Sterling. Granted, I'm not the most knowledgeable on these two, so I'm going to give the floor to you. But the reason I go with Sterling is because, in my opinion, who has Peter Yan really, like, beat that really, like, makes you, like, turn your head? Because after over the summer, he fought Aldo, who's, if we're being honest, he's at the end of his career here. He's not the same guy.
Actually a great fight through 3 rounds, and then Yan dominated rounds 4, finished it in round 5. But
yeah, so I mean, and don't get me wrong, Peter Yan obviously is a quality champion, but I think this is like a fight that Sterling has just been absolutely craving for a while, and he's gonna give it his. I mean, for what it's worth, he's gonna give it his all. Obviously, anyone in a title fight would. But I think he's really, really, really going to go after it hard with his game plan, probably a wrestling-heavy approach. Whether or not he gets to the mat is the big question mark. But with that being said, I may have not given a great handicap. I'm going to go towards Aljamain Sterling. Agreement, disagreement, what do you think about that fight?
all right, first of all, I'll start off and say this is the closest fight on the card, and I'm the most skeptical about this fight because there's so many different ways it could play out. Peter Yan, regardless of like the body of work, he's one of those. He's got an amazing fundamental boxing background. He can throw hands like nobody else in the 135-pound division can. I'm talking just hands wise, not with like kickboxing and all that stuff, even though he's got good body kicks and stuff like that. So there's a possibility he does knock out Aljamain Sterling, but personally I have Aljamain because I think he has more keys to victory. Aljamain needs to take a wrestling approach to win this fight, because if he stands there and tries to trade with Peter Yan for 5 rounds, he's going to get knocked out in 2, or he's just going to decisively lose the fight. He's on a different grappling level than Yan, and Yan is on a different striking level. Now, Yan definitely knows that, and he's working on the takedown defense, obviously. But this fight I would definitely stay away from, even though I did choose Aljamain. I wouldn't necessarily place a bet on this fight just because it could go so many different ways. It could end quick. It could go to a decision. It could be a sub. It could be a TKO.
So before I get into my best bet, here's my third bet, and I'm going to be straight honest with you. I have a terrible handicap for this one. I'm sure you know more about it, and I didn't even talk to you about this before we went live here. But I'm going to go with Askar Askarov, mainly because I've seen Benavidez fight, I guess over the summer, and I saw him lose to Figueiredo a few times. He hasn't impressed me. I know he has a great career. He's another one of those guys that I think maybe he's getting a little bit older and he's kind of running out of steam, where Askarov is the young upcoming guy with some decent hype behind him. So
yep.
I think it almost feels like an easy one for me to say. But let's get a little bit better breakdown. So first of all, agreement, disagreement, and what do you think about the fight?
I 100% agree, actually. I love Askarov in this fight, and the odds are pretty even, which is kind of crazy to me. Benavidez is coming off of 2 straight devastating losses. Like, he was punished in both of those fights. I don't know why my eye's tearing up, but my eye's tearing up. It's probably because I'm not blinking. But but anyway, Askarov is the number 5 ranked flyweight in the world. Benavidez is coming off of 2 straight, basically knockout losses. He got knocked out in the first fight. It was going to be for the title. and Figueiredo missed weight. So then they fought again, and Figgy dropped him like 4 times before securing a choke and choking him out. So I think that Benavidez is on the downside of his career, obviously, and the UFC likes to take bigger name guys on the downside of their careers, such as Joseph Benavidez, and feed them to like a young hungry wolf, which is Oscar Oskarov. So I expect Oskarov to definitely win this fight. He's one of my locks, actually. So I'm in 100% agreement with you. Benavidez has been knocked out multiple times. He's never been able to really capture gold. He's never been able to really take that step up. But against regular guys in the division, he's killed it. But like I said, I think that his career trajectory is definitely headed towards retirement. Yeah. I think he's maybe 1 or 2 fights away from retirement. So I'm in agreement. I definitely have Askarov in this fight.
So far, out of 3 picks, we got 2 agreements, 1 disagreement. So I feel pretty good with the action that I've given. And now this is my best bet of the night. Personally, this is my personal lock of the night. But I'm gonna go with my guy Casey Kenny, fighting against Dominic Cruz. I feel like we have a similar type of matchup here as the one we just broke down.
It's the exact same.
Literally, you have Dominic Cruz, who's, let's be real, he's been commentating fights, which he does a phenomenal job at. But he has been on that downward trajectory of his career. You know, his best days are behind him. Where Casey Kenny, the first time I saw him fight, I had no idea who the guy was. And, like, this was before I really was breaking down fights. And I saw the guy, and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, holy shit, this guy's impressive. And since then, I've kept an eye on him. And, I mean, the guy is just – he's always ready to go. He's one of those guys that's just always ready, always in shape. He has cardio out the ass. He's
well-rounded.
Yeah, he can wrestle. He can strike with you, whatever, all that shit. I don't want to get too technical. I mean, the guy's in shape. The guy can go the entire fight 100 miles an hour. This felt like another one where I was like, man, this is one that I just fucking love. So I bet it early on in the week, and the odds were like minus 125. I think they're up a little bit more since then, but still it was like a minus 140 or minus 150, which is, you know, it's relatively close. So yeah, Casey Kenny, agreement, disagreement, what do you think?
I agree. Dominic Cruz has fought once since 2017, and it's a TKO loss to Triple C Henry Cejudo. So this is, like I said, another example of that. Dominic Cruz is known for like his movement and his lateral movement and just his awkward fighting style. So it is hard to prepare for. So like, I wouldn't necessarily be shocked if Dominic Cruz pulled out a decision win, but my money's 100% on Casey Kenny because the guy's just going to move forward, throw power shots. He's got a black belt in judo. He could toss him down to the ground. Just more paths to victory for Casey Kenny. In his last fight with Nathaniel Wood, he looked fantastic. It was a barn burner of a fight. So I'm in agreement with you there too.
So yeah, I really like Casey Kenny. You agree there. So we got 3 agreements, 1 disagreement. That's pretty fucking good. Maybe we can keep rolling with these. Whenever there's like a big event, I want to get you or Connor on. But before we finish up here, I did tell you if you have a favorite bet or 2 that you want to give to the audience, the floor is yours. Go for it.
For one, this is going to be regarding the Amanda Nunez fight. Amanda Nunez is like a minus 1,200 favorite. So obviously, unless you have like $100,000 and you're trying to make a little bit more money, you know, you're not going to be betting on Amanda Nunez. It's pointless. But the last I checked, the over-under on that is 1.5 rounds. She's fighting Megan Anderson, who's 6 feet tall with a 72-inch reach, and she's a strong, durable girl coming off of a knockout win. Her last fight, she knocked her opponent out. That being said, I think that obviously Amanda Nunez is a lock to win. She's easily like the lock of the night, as she is most times she fights. But I think that her fighting Megan Anderson's a lot more durable than a lot of the 135ers she fights because she's defending her featherweight belt in this fight at 145. Her last fight at featherweight was against Felicia Spencer. And that fight went to a decision at UFC 250, and it was just an absolute domination. But Felicia Spencer's just got a chin made of granite, and she's super tough and toughed out 5 rounds of getting dominated. So I would take the over in this. I think it goes over 1.5 rounds. Like I said, the height discrepancy and all that stuff. I think Amanda Nunez, there's a good chance she, I think Amanda Nunez, like 3rd round, 4th round submission is would be my guess on how the fight ends. But yeah, I think it definitely goes over 1.5 just because of how durable Megan Anderson is.
Because I remember when I bet on the over, actually, when she fought Holly Holm, and that didn't go so well for me because she just clocked her, knocked her out. But listen, man, you gave a good breakdown on that one, so I'll probably pop on board there. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention? Any other picks that you liked?
Islam Makhachev, they call him the new Habib. Everybody at his training center at AKA, American Kickboxing Academy, Daniel Cormier, Habib himself, Javier Mendez, the head coach there, they all say, like, he is Habib coming in. He's Habib with better striking.
I saw that, actually.
So yeah,
I
this
saw that
guy
on,
could be a
yeah.
guy to watch in the future. He's a minus like 350 favorite. So if you want to throw him in like a parlay with, say, like a Euros Medic type of guy or a Carlos Olberg, those guys I'm also quite big on in this fight. Both of them are kind of like striking wizards. So
What is he, like in one of the prelims? Islam Makhachev?
no, he's on the main card.
Oh, he's on the main card.
Yeah,
You see, I haven't heard about this guy until I recently saw his name being thrown. Okay, I see he's fighting Drew Dober here.
yes.
That's, dude, 100%. I saw Habib hyping him up, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And now you bring him up. Yeah, I'm taking that guy 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, he's
So
a great guy to just throw in a parlay because he's winning.
I'll probably take him straight. I don't even give a shit. I'm taking him straight. I don't care. I'll lay the juice. But yeah, yo, listen, I really appreciate you coming on. Connor was great last time. You were great today. I want to give you a little shout out. I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Dan had the infamous 10-0 week on his UFC prediction. So this guy knows his fucking shit, man.
10 to 10.
Yeah.
Getting on a plus 400 underdog. What's up?
This is a guy who you can tell just from hearing him speak, he's been watching MMA his whole life, and he really is into this shit, and he knows what he's talking about. So I think this is a cool thing for all of our friends of the pod that enjoy MMA. I think you guys are going to enjoy this little episode and let us know, and we'll throw more your way. So, yeah, appreciate it, Dan.
No problem. 7 of 8 last week, too, on the Rosenstrike on card.